X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm very late to this review, even though I did see this movie the day it came out. More tribute to my laziness. Grand, massive tribute to my laziness. This entire channel seems to be. But, getting to the point, X-Men Origins Wolverine. If you aren't one of the people that has already contributed to this movie's massive success at $260 million currently, then, should you go see it? That's a little tough to answer, to be honest. I'm going to start the story. If you don't know, it's hard not to imagine that you don't know. But anyway, I guess if you're not into nerd culture or comics, then you might not have seen the X-Men movies. But, I'm not going to go into it. Wolverine is about a mutant who, with the ability of massive healing, has a massive healing factor in him, as well as his bones can protrude in between his fingers and his knuckles to create claws. And it is his quest after the love of his life is killed to seek revenge by injecting his body with an unbreakable form of metal called adamantium, creating the super mutant that the X-Men comics has much lauded and uses their cover boy for years now, Wolverine. The movie loosely covers his early origins for his childhood, his battles through a couple wars and a montage, but is mainly focused on the said quest for revenge. Now, the story itself. Well, frankly, it's not all that exciting. We already know where it's going. I mean, we know where it ends. This is a prequel to the X-Men movies, if you didn't already know. It's not continuing onwards. It is Origins, as the title would suggest. But it doesn't even really provide a whole lot there. The war montage is fascinating. I would have loved to have seen more of that necessarily without the powers that we all know that he will have. But, taking it what it is it worth seeing? Maybe. I enjoyed it for what it was. Now, what is it? It's an 80s action movie. A TNT 80s action movie. And that means it's pretty stupid, really silly, lots of explosions, and not a massive amount of depth to it. Now, taken from the X-Men movies outside of The Last Stand, the third movie, it's quite the departure, to be honest. The X-Men movies actually had a good subcurrent of themes going, and the story was pretty good, and the characterization was quite well done. In this, not so much. It's kind of just a team of mutants going up against Wolverine, trying to stop him, and Wolverine kicking some ass. And the big usual special effects extravaganza that we've all come to expect from a Fox movie. And a lot of people have bashed this movie, rightfully so. The character of Wolverine is not amazingly well handled. Hugh Jackman does his best, puts on a great show, and Sabretooth is portrayed particularly well here. In the original X movies, he was pathetically stupid. In this one, he's actually a good character, and the actor is playing him, I forget his name at the moment, but he does a really good job, and he's a perfect counterpart to Wolverine, even if he's kind of gimped, because Wolverine is just so powerful. The main antagonist they come up with at the end is also really, really lacking. And there's obligatory plot twists that go off and out of nowhere, and frankly, the whole movie just is kind of stupid. Like I said before, you're not gonna be stimulated watching it. This is not gonna be the motion picture event of the year. But you know what? If you and your friends, and particularly if they're all male friends, want to go see a big, dumb action movie with a guy with claws in his hands, you know what? You're probably not going to be too disappointed. A lot of critics are knocking it down. You know what? It doesn't deserve all that much praise. But for what I think you have to take things for what they are. You can't change that. You can't go into every movie expecting it's going to be an award-winning documentary. And while this isn't even the best action movie, it's out in theaters right now, and on the big screen, it's pretty impressive. It could also easily be used as a booze-filled rental, but because it's in theaters, you know, I might actually go see it. As a continuation of the X-Men universe, it's not all that enthralling, but as an action-packed extravaganza, it does a decent job. It also includes some mutants, however misused, such as Gambit, which fans have long been clamoring for to see on screen, and Gambit in particular is actually particularly cool. And, oh my god, the Blob, who is incredibly stupid in this movie, but because the whole rest of the movie is kind of dumb, fits in well enough. Overall, the action is really silly. such as a barn exploding with Wolverine in it, and just as it explodes, he comes riding on one wheel, popping a wheelie on a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I think it's Harley Davidson. Anyway, and he actually has a shot, the 80s cliche action shot of him walking away from an explosion he caused. It's baffling, actually laughably hilarious at times. And he's even got kind of the sideburns you'd expect from an 80s action hero. I felt like I was watching a Van Damme movie. And that's it's kind of why I enjoyed it, and I'm kind of recommending it. If you don't like those kind of TNT action movies, you're probably not going to like this movie, because this is exactly what it is. It's dumb action at its mediocre. But, if anything else, this is somewhat of a remedy for the tough guy action movies of the 80s that are seriously lacking nowadays. Now you have to have complex heroes and Bourne, who I personally fucking hate. But you know what? Sometimes it's just nice to have a little escapist or male escapist fantasy and just watch one dude kick a bunch of dudes' asses. Is it base? Yes. Is it not enjoyable? Not entirely. One thing I will say, though, the effects are really kind of uneven, which is surprising considering it's that type of movie. Most of the effects are fine, but there's some odd scenes that look highly unfinished, such as anyone who's seen the movie will notice it, is when he's looking at his claws in a bathroom about a third of the way through the movie. Oh, damn. They look terrible. Hilariously so, again. But for the most part, it's not too distracting. Outside of the rape of some characters, such as Deadpool, and I don't mean literal rape, I mean textual or contextual rape, that Fox performs on him. Apparently he's having a spin-off movie, which I am looking forward to, but not amazingly so. More is, again, another drunken, booze-filled rental such as this. And look, I sound like I'm knocking this film, and I should, because it's a pretty terrible movie, but at the same time, I kind of liked it. I don't know what more I can say. It's not a great movie, but I did enjoy it. And I think if you crave for the 80s action style of movie, which we have evolved beyond, but is still enjoyable from time to time, this is a newer version of that, and it's got mutant superpowers instead of big tough dudes like Arnold Schwarzenegger in them. So, for that, I give it a mild recommendation. Otherwise, you could probably stick with the rental.